Hey everyone, we are nice and happy. There is no trace of what we just said.
Is there?
Ha ha
Is it?
ha!
Are we live? Are we live?
Yes! There's like hardly anyone watching it anymore.
Well, what is that sound? That must be the paranormal. What is the paranormal? The paranormal is parallel, para. What the other? There are parallel
You talking
universes,
about paratrooper?
parallel universities. You know, where we all go to school in different places. And normal, there is no such thing as normal. There is no normal.
I
There
just
is
know
no
about
normal.
paratroopers, man.
Yeah, there's no normal. And every one of those paratroopers coming out of the sky, they're all different. They're floating out of the sky close to each other, but they're all different. And that is what the human experience is. Everybody has a different experience, and they think that's the truth. It's not. The thing that's truly true is that there's only one human race, the human race. There is no such thing as black or white or red or yellow or anything, right? Because we are all Homo sapiens sapiens. And we've been on this planet a long time. If you were to go look at the Sphinx in Egypt, right? And what you will see is that statuary is on a foundation. And when they drilled into the deeper part of that foundation, it was covered in moss that was millions of years old, meaning there was something else there before the Sphinx was. And it goes back 200 million years. And that is the paranormal, meaning the parallel universe that we don't want to talk about, right?
Do you think there's an underground hell inside of the earth, and that's why they've shown all that art throughout centuries, thousands of years? Historically, every time they show a depiction of hell, it's where there's no windows, there's no light able to see outside anywhere. There's just an underground hell throughout, all the religions, the varying religions, the pagan, the developing of the religions throughout
Yep.
human
Yep.
history. Why have they
Well,
always
not-
shown an
not-
underground hell inside of the Earth's surface? What do you think is there right now as we speak?
Basically, hell
When
is
we're just on the outside of the surface,
Right,
we're just living on this on 1% of the whole,
Not
if
even,
that.
if that.
Yeah. What do you think is really going on inside the Earth in all those caverns and the real life hell?
Well, our
And do you
moon-
think that that is why we have to be good people to avoid going into that hell after we die, being pulled down to it, having people take us away to it, torture us, keep us alive for
because we
centuries
don't have
with
to
genetic
die to get
manipulation
hell.
to
Meaning
really make us
people-
feel what hell is
people
really
make
like
their
insofar as
own
we can
hell.
possibly imagine on Earth. The most hellish horror movie that we could imagine in our minds.
We do that ourselves. It's not someplace. Now, I do believe that virtually all of the planets in our solar system are artificial. And that, yes, there are things, hollow places, our government and other governments. See, we don't have real governments. We have make-believe governments. What we do have, we live in a place that the political dynamics are oligarchic, and they are like organized crime. We live in a criminal enterprise,
Oh,
and we are.
criminal. How do we live in a criminal? It doesn't feel criminal. It feels free.
No, it's not free. Well, you're not free. I mean, you don't feel you're.
I don't do whatever I feel like, but I'm
Yeah,
alive.
but why
and
don't
bad
you?
and bad and good.
You get upset. You think about what people are
It's
thinking and
always
what
been
you
that way.
look like.
Ups and downs and stuff.
Right, and I was saying that we all have our multiple personalities, and depending on how well you take all that and make one persona, that's how and by being that one persona, hey, you experience like the Fonz. Hey, John is the Fonz. And when
They
he's
used to call me the Fonz in high school,
Right.
the skateboard posse or whatever.
The
the heck they
skateboard
call it.
posse.
The skateboard crew called me the Fonz.
the Fonz.
For one of them did. Then then they all turned their back on me. I was the coolest one, like the leader of the pack.
Yeah.
I was like the leader of the pack. I was the coolest one. I could get all the girls and stuff. I was cool. And then they all turned their back on me.
Why?
And I became this ostracized,
Why?
weird one.
Why?
I don't know. And then I didn't fit in here. And then I had to go out to LA. I finally got my braces off. I had this hair in front of my face. I had a hernia. Could barely walk. I was like, I got messed up somehow. Because I stole stuff, I think, when I was like 17. I stole stuff and it was like karma's way of hurting me bad. It made me ugly and weird. I tried to shave the hair off my arms and had redness. And like, I was like.
Most of us
And then.
cause these kind of.
But I got way over it. I got strong, healthy.
Right.
I got invincible. At one point I was so strong, I lifted weights, you know. I overcame it miraculously somehow through physical therapy and working out again.
But most of these kind of feelings of.
I went out to LA and I loved it. I loved it.
What did
What
you like about LA?
I finally felt happy for the first time in a year or two of that type of horrible suffering.
Is that because you were in a different environment? Your folks weren't there and people weren't there judging you, and there was,
I was
a
finally
bunch of
confident.
people.
I got my braces taken off.
Right.
I did so. I wasn't worried about. I waxed all my hair off so on my body that I was worried about, and hey, it looked good and smooth and stuff. Somehow I was like cool. I kind of had abs, even though I didn't think I had abs. I wasn't confident enough with it, but I kind of had abs. I had like the girls liked me and stuff. I was popular at the school I went to out there. I went to Otis College of Art and Design. It was like a summer course or thing, and I was confident. And
So what happened?
so I think I just had to suffer with karma because I stole stuff from people when I was like 17. I got in trouble.
Yeah, you paid your dues.
But then it hit me with making my looks look horrible, really bad. And all my skater friends turned their back on me, like, yeah, kind of made fun of them and everything. And then I don't know, my only choice was just to leave town, pretty much.
But what was it the palm trees? Was it
Literally,
the ocean? Was it the mountains? What
I went
about
out to LA and I
California?
had my hair on my arms back then. I was like worried. I used to worry about it, and then I grew it back in. I was like, yeah, I'm still worried. And I just waxed it all off. You know how they do?
Yep.
And I was like not worried. It was all in my head.
Everything is in our head.
I could have been the cool Henry Rollins with a short haircut and like hair on his arms and like, you know, like confident about it. But it was in my head. I got an incongruent thought, and I thought there were all sorts of things wrong with my face.
But they're not.
But there's never anything
There's
that
not.
bad.
Audience, right? This guy looks great, right? He doesn't need to worry about any of those
No.
kind of things. He's fine. He's
Yeah,
good.
but I had to really work out and learn to be confident again.
What is
And
confidence?
people go through ups and
John,
downs.
what is confidence?
But do you think that?
What
do
is
you think that
confidence?
some people, when they're going
Oh, of
through
course.
like a really
We have
when they go through a
biorhythms.
really
We have
low-
good days. We have bad days.
low, they just die and become a ghost?
Well,
Do you think people become a ghost?
again,
Do you think people become a ghost?
when you hear about people dying and they go to the other side, and that's what I'm talking about. There is a parallel universe. They go there. Human beings, our souls are forever because, see, we experience our lives in a linear. You're born, you live, you die. Well, the universe, our experience is not linear. We're put in this is like the Matrix, you know? All of those films really do express what's going on in a metaphor, right? And we are somebody's ever-ready bunny, you know? So, what we need to
For the
do,
big agenda.
yeah, which
That they're
we're not even, you know, aware of what that big agenda is because we're
But are
put-
they even aware of it?
at some
Or are they
point
kind of like
they're
they
part.
go
No,
along with
they're
history?
also being taken advantage of. At some point, And that's why the Matrix was quite interesting, because there was the oracle and the architect, the masculine and the feminine. And God isn't a male
Matrix?
God. Matrix, yeah, the Matrix, the movie.
movie?
Matrix, yeah, the movie. That's really kind of what's going on.
That's not necessarily a very historic document.
Yeah, but someone once asked Thucydides, who's the father of written history within our point of view, and they said, "So Thucydides, you're the father of written history. What is it?" And he said, "Whatever the Romans pay me to write." And history is always written by the guy with the checkbook. So, if you believe anything is the truth, I feel sorry for you. And if you have
always somebody
faith,
that has more money,
yeah, it's always
more power, more power.
the guy with
Even
the
if
checkbook.
there's some guy that has $1 trillion or $700 billion,
And there's another guy who has $1 trillion.
There's some
and
jerk
that guy
guy
was
that's
$1
got
trillion.
$300 billion. That's like, yeah,
Right,
I mean,
right,
he'll like
exactly.
really hurt.
It's
Yeah.
irrelevant. It's an illusion. What you have the freedom to do is to choose the life. Hell isn't underground, it's right here. Go to Syria and see
But I
what hell
think we
is.
only go to that hell if we really do bad on Earth.
People,
I think I'll go to the other side so far. I'm not that horrible. of a
we
person.
all
I
go
don't
to
know
the
if
other
I
side,
will.
John. We all go to the other side.
I don't know if I'll go to the
We
other
all
side
go,
or not, but
and
you
if
know
you
what? I don't think anyone
meditate
does.
and go to your Akashic Record audience, and on one of my videos, about 10 videos back on my channel, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob, I do a whole hour of how to meditate, and
Maybe
I
we should calm down.
yeah, well, I'm calm.
Maybe I should calm down.
Well,
You know,
might be good, yeah. But you're not really, you're not out of
I should probably
control.
just sit down and calm down.
Yeah, but you're not out of control. You're fine. You're expressing yourself, and you.
Yeah, but there's so many people that I know in real life that watch my channel. I feel almost too much pressure, and I don't care as much about appealing to what they want me to have my channel
And
as.
you shouldn't. You should
Or-
you're the artist in the first
Or
person.
my whole entertainment, everything that I do. But
But
I
John,
would
everything
rather
you did-
just appeal to the audiences out there and have that something separate that no one in my immediate family and friends can even see.
John, although I've looked at a good number of
And then I
your-
can be free to just
your
say whatever I
YouTubes, and
feel
I've
like.
looked at all of your feature
Way more,
films,
like I'm starting to do in this video.
and those are pieces of art. They're not commercial.
Yeah, they are pieces of art. I really
Right.
worked
They
really
are
hard
art.
on.
They're
Really
not
hard on.
commercial. And look at Van Gogh's a great example. One of the greatest artists of all humanity's time. He did not, he was giving his
Van Gogh.
paintings away
And he
for like
suffered.
a sandwich.
He suffered
Yeah,
for
but
it all on Earth.
there's a film called The Misery and the Ecstasy about his life where he was ecstatic and miserable. And that's because he was kind of manic depressive.
I didn't know he was ecstatic. He got to be ecstatic?
Oh yeah, he was manic depressive. So
I
he
thought
was,
he just had to suffer and cut off his ear and be
Uh-uh.
poor
Uh-uh.
and then never have his work appreciated
No.
in any way.
People did appreciate. He had other artists who knew he was great. Cezanne, and he had a few other. The guy who went to
But there's
Tahiti.
all various levels of those artists.
yeah.
Some get a little recognition, some get more.
Well,
I should be happy
all the
enough
guys
because
who were his buddies who said, Vincent, he's the one. They all became famous, not in their own lifetime. I mean, a number of them sold their paintings, but Vincent, his family had money. He wasn't super
Vincent
rich.
who? Van Gogh?
Yeah. His
He
brother.
did?
Yeah, his brother took care of him. Paid
How
his-
much money?
Who knows?
A
But
little
enough.
amount?
I mean, they paid his rent. They
Like
gave
not
him
really money,
enough for him to survive.
but not like $100 million
No, but enough for him to
to
survive.
get his art finally seen
You
with his
paid
own
his-
eyes and people actually
you know,
appreciate
you
it while
paid
he's
his-
alive. And
you know,
he
you always say,
really
"How am I
tortured
gonna
himself
pay
working
my
so hard
bills?"
that the only thing
His
that he could
family
live
paid
for
his bills.
until he had children.
No,
If he had children, he didn't have any children, right?
Didn't have any
Yeah,
children.
doubt it. Yeah.
committed suicide.
No, oh, he committed suicide.
Yeah,
Oh, terrible.
but everyone who knew art knew that he was the best of that moment. And see, Vincent wasn't he was very sensitive. He was very empathetic, but he wasn't self.
But he was a redhead. He looked like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
mountains
curly
of
red
West
hair,
Virginia.
Yeah,
Yeah, coal
yeah.
miner
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly.
He was just a redhead.
Yeah,
He wasn't.
Carrot top.
But he looked kind of like if you gave him a country accent, it would be funny.
But anyway, he was a true artist in the first person. Why his paintings are so, when he painted, he was co-creating with love, and that's why he was in ecstasy. And that's why those paintings are what they are. And anybody who paints a painting, like, I was a
How can
painter.
he feel ecstasy while he's painting? It's just work, just
No,
a
no,
tremendous,
that's why-
tremendous amount
That's
of work.
why his paintings were so amazing. I went to school to be a scenic painter, meaning I painted scenery.
How could you enjoy it?
I did. I've never.
I couldn't imagine having to
Everything
do it
I've ever
again.
done, and I've done a lot of different things. I've only done them for 3 reasons. A, my employer needed me way more than I needed them. Ergo, they paid me a lot of money for what I was doing. And B, or C, I was enjoying what I was doing. Meaning,
But you didn't create a timeless work, a body of work, a timeless work of art, anything
knows?
like that that's
Who
going to go
knows?
into the universe.
my
and-
art is out there in lots of different fashions, and who knows whether they're going to be timeless. I mean, Van Gogh didn't know his work was going to be timeless.
And you didn't do a tremendous, unbelievable amount of work that took a toll on your body, possibly to ensure that it would be way better than everyone else's or anyone else's who could have possibly worked as
I didn't
hard
need
as
to do
you.
that. All of the work I ever did, I did because I enjoyed doing it. Meaning, I was an electrician for 50 years, a good 50 years.
You were an amazing electrician. You're
Yeah.
still good at electrician
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and I can't even
electricity.
get on the ladder. I can look at what's wrong and tell you what's going on. So yes, but I enjoyed it. Why was I such a good electrician? Because I enjoyed doing it, right? And I still enjoy doing it. Meaning, I still,
But to enjoy it, how could you have worked
50
so
years.
unbelievably? In that time you learned it. How to do
I
it.
started learning it from the minute I could crawl and stuck a knife.
But you
in-
liked it.
Yes.
Oh, that's kind
I
of like me
enjoyed
on
it.
drums.
Yeah, I enjoyed
I'm
it.
playing drums.
Yes, I enjoyed
I
it.
enjoyed it. It wasn't that hard.
No.
I had the motivation to work at it and got
Right.
really good at it because I
And-
liked it.
And I had really good teachers.
There's people
I
commenting. I should see what they said.
Yeah, we'll take a look at what they're saying.
Yeah.
What are they saying?
Let me see what they're saying.
What are they saying?
Live chat.
Yeah.
Bubby Blindy.
Yeah.
Well, hello again, good peeps. Hey, I'm a 6'6" redhead dude. Oh, sorry, Jamie. Hey, if I could be a redhead, that'd be cool. I mean,
Right.
I have darker hair, but I've bleached it and stuff. But it's like I don't care either way as long as it's.
So there, Bubba, he's a really interesting guy.
Nothing is timeless, as there is no such thing as time,
That's what
John.
I'm saying. That guy always gives.
That's Bubby. How'd you know it was him?
Because he's
okay.
communicates to me on my channel.
Oh,
on
okay,
my
okay.
Email and
Lee Kennedy, chill, John. Hell is our own making.
you got it, baby.
Yeah, if we focus on it, then that's our worry or whatever.
Yep, you got it. Keep going. What
Okay.
else do they say?
World Timeline Channel. I get HTOTS.
What is
Hell, hot tamales or
that? Yeah,
them
what does that mean?
she hands. It's either hot tamales or them she hands.
Yeah, who knows?
Them she hands. There's the extras in Talladega Nights.
Yeah, okay, so what else? What else do they say?
Okay. Jay Medley. Hi from Cleveland, Ohio.
Hey, Cleveland.
Somebody said Mind Ninja.
Mind ninja?
Mind Ninja. Somebody
You're a
just
mind, so
didn't-
your ninja-ness is in your mind.
Somebody's called the Al Lunatic. The Al Lunatic.
Hey,
He said
buddy.
hello from the UK.
Hey, UK. Brother Al.
Lee
or Sister
Ken-
Al.
Lee Kennedy, hello from Michigan.
Hey, Michigan. Well, say more. I mean, like, Bubba
Somebody said,
was-
great to see you here together. Good together again. Jamie Hillier. Good buddies, brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
damn fine filmmaking, John. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just, doing regular YouTube videos now, but I worked really hard doing
I'm
sound
sure
design,
when he
all that
says
stuff in
fine
front of a
filmmaking, he's
computer, all the
talking
little
about your
details,
features.
making it look like a real movie all
He's
by
talking
hand.
about your features.
Yeah. But you can watch one of them, The Vampires of Zanzibar,
That's
or
my
one of the.
favorite. That's my favorite.
I had to do all the little post-production stuff.
See, the thing about films, well, I worked as an electrician on films because
And-
I was
and
in
the
Local 3,
writing.
I got into Nabith, IATSE, it's like all of that. And I liked films and I liked theater
I did.
because they were a collective thing. It was just,
I didn't do that
it
much
wasn't
theater.
me.
You did theater.
Yeah, I did a lot of theater.
You did theater.
Yeah.
But that was New York.
New York, yep. I went to Juilliard, and that's where I learned
But
to
you
paint.
weren't matriculated at Juilliard.
I was matriculating, but I only lasted about a year and a half because I had a girlfriend.
But you weren't matriculated at Juilliard.
Sure, I was signed up. Yep, I was going through. I'm on the books, but I didn't graduate. I didn't get a degree.
Well,
I went there as long as
I don't want to make a big argument over
you
it.
know, I went there as long as I wanted to, and I've gone to many different, houses or institutions of education, and I used them instead of them using me, and that was fine. I wasn't depending on some piece of paper because
At Juilliard for what?
Because in high school I was a big theater guy, and then I got involved with, when I was 14, 15, being the electrician and living in New York, I was part of Herbert Berghoff and Uta Hagen's HB studio.
Oh yeah,
which
I've
was
heard of that.
really, really prestigious, I was part of Robert Wilson's dance company that did letters to Queen Victoria and Einstein on the beach, And the libretto of both of those came from a guy named, what was Chris? It was Robert's cousin, and Robert came from...
But did you really matriculate at Juilliard?
Yeah, meaning I got logged in, and I went to classes. I didn't just walk in. They wouldn't let you just walk in. And I, took a number of classes, and I would have kept going, but
Thanks.
I was already
Somebody said
working
something
in the
nice.
theater. Half of my teachers were like pissed at me because, man, if I could only get the job that you have, I wouldn't be teaching. And I was like 19 and 20 because I had been part of the theater world from the time I was 16.
But the only thing I can find
I
when
was
you
living in the Lower East Side, and the poet who wrote Howl was my neighbor, and we used to have potluck dinners, and the whole intelligentsia would come to our, and I went to.
how does this fit into ghosts and paranormal?
Because there are parallel universes, meaning people go, I can't believe we did all this stuff. And that's one reason that made me a photographer, because I started taking pictures of everything. So as I see, here's me. I mean, what people do now with these things, taking, I was doing that in the 60s, taking pictures of stuff so people could see. Oh yeah, there he is with, Andy Warhol. Oh yeah, there he is with Uta Hagen. Oh yeah, there he is, I have pictures of all of this. All the different art shows, the art galleries I owned, the nightclubs. I would take over abandoned buildings.
So how does
and
this
put-
fit into the ghosts?
Because these were all parallel universes, and that's what ghosts are. They are energetic images of parallel universes. That's why we call it paranormal. It's the parallel universe that is interacting with what we consider as normal. And because it isn't within the construct of our five senses, our five senses...
How do you know for sure that's what ghosts are?
I don't know.
You want to call out to a ghost?
They're already here.
You want to call?
I see one right here.
Where?
Right here.
You see one?
Yeah.
You're not crazy?
No. Because I've been meditating for 40 years. I have energized my erethic field. I've had
What
some of the
physical
most
capabilities?
amazing teachers.
What physical capabilities do you think ghosts hold?
The only real one is that they're able It's like what deja. Everyone has the experience of deja vu, and what deja vu is. Our lives are like on these railroad tracks, and at a certain point, someone throws a switch, and we are take a turn off the railroad track going this way. And at the beginning, one foot is on the railroad track going straight, and the other foot is going on the railroad track going that way. And we get straight, and then we snap into one or the other. And at that point of being stretched is when we're experiencing.
That's so weird. I just read something that I wrote that I had forgotten about years ago, and I just read it.
Right. And that is deja vu. And
I just read that last night.
Right.
I believe.
Well, and there is a synchronistic experience. And again, synchronicity is a portion of what paranormal is, right?
But how can we really conjure up some ghosts in here? That not the evil ones. We don't want any evil here.
They're already here, John.
How do we talk to them?
You quiet your mind. You have to quiet your mind. On about this, that, and the other thing, and why I feel terrible about this, and the misery of that, and is there this, and how am I going to pay? Well, you're never going to talk to anybody, not even yourself. You have to quiet it all down. And that's why breathing 20% more. Okay, kids, we're going to have a little experiment. John wants us to.
When you try to tell them, do it.
No. I give them, I live my life.
You try to tell me what to do. When I'm on camera, so then it's like, you're cool.
No, what I do is I live my life as an example. You want to follow that example? Or you want to look and say, well, look what that guy's doing.
I had to do that at one time. I'm usually not that type of person. I like to feel like I'm a 15-year-old alternative kid with like long bangs and like no facial hair and really young looking and a singer of a band that's so cool and original on a stage and like, wow, this really emotional music that's created that no one's ever really heard anything like, and it's so sad, like a time lost. And that's what I wanted to create ever since I was about that age, that type of sad music.
So why is that?
But instead,
why would you want to stick yourself into a period?
But instead, I had to, before that dream could ever come true, having worked at it so hard at every type of art that I could possibly imagine, and it still wasn't coming true, I had to become a military man, like a big, mean military man that ordered men around and had them call me sir and stuff.
Why?
Which was nothing that I had ever believed in or ever wanted with my life. I wanted to die before I got to be some big man.
Why?
I wanted to be a rock star first. I didn't want to just die. I wanted to be a rock star and a timeless, brilliant artist that my art went, as huge as could possibly imagine, and then die at 27. I didn't think I'd live past 27, but instead of going with what I wanted to and being my true self, I kissed ass, I'll just put it bluntly, I kissed ass to those loved ones and close people that wanted me to do things a certain way. You gotta stand up for the, military and stuff like that. And I went along with what they said, and instead I became a filmmaker instead of just a rock star. And then I kept living after that. I kept living out, and I didn't even get to party. I went out to LA when I was 19, could have been a rock star, went all out, smoked weed, whatever was legal back then with the medical marijuana, gotten high and literally high, like empowered and huge at what I was doing, which was what I think that stuff may have done to me back then. And instead of doing that and becoming a rock star out there, it literally got rid of my appetite when I smoked weed, I think. If it did. I'm not saying if I did it or not, but, instead of being a rock star, I went to all the schools, I stayed in the schools, I suffered through the social anxiety, I went through all that difficult school.
So why did you do that?
And I met my soulmate.
But why did you do that? How come you just didn't, when you first went out there and all those cute girls were hitting on you, that was just at the summertime.
that was when I first went out there, and it was like just one
summer. It was the
month or
summer.
so.
So why didn't you just stay there?
I went back to Virginia, broke up with my girlfriend, and that I didn't get with any of those girls out in California because I thought it was quote unquote cheating, even though it didn't matter anyway. I was just like a high school kid and it wasn't that serious. Or, a little older than that. It was a little after some college.
You weren't married.
Yeah, I was 19.
Right.
And I went out to LA, and then I went back there and I just started crewing on movies, and it kind of sucked and it wasn't that good, and I wasn't very socially happy. I never once partied, never once smoked weed, never once drank beer
You just didn't relax.
the whole time I was there.
Why didn't you?
Like all the other young people were doing, even in my high school.
Why didn't you?
I don't want to make any comments, but there's certain high schools, I'm not going to say which ones, but then
Why didn't you act like that?
that's what people did.
That's
what the young people did.
They still do, John. They still do. That's what young people do. They don't tie themselves to a career path. I mean, they may or may not, but the bottom line.
I just went to school.
Right. See,
and then I met a girlfriend.
That's why I didn't matriculate, because I was having too much fun. And I was already working at the things that people who were going to school.
So you said you didn't matriculate.
I got into certain schools where, I had to sign up. Like when I was at Hofstra, when I was at a number of schools, I was signed up and paying the bill. But I didn't stay there long because I was already doing the things that I was studying.
It's not that important. Even like Bill Gates didn't go to school. He dropped out.
Right, because he was more passionate.
He started to. He was enrolled in Yale, I think.
And meaning I'm a scholar. I spent 30 years in universities, not matriculating.
But you don't have to. Like there's certain people, like Brad Pitt.
Right.
He dropped out of college. He just went to a regular podunk college.
Right.
It wasn't anything. It might have been a kind of good one, but not that great. None of that stuff matters that much. How are we going to contact ghosts? How are we going to keep living and not turn into ghosts?
Okay. So, as I was saying, what you have to do is quiet the little squirrel in your head, because that's the thing that totally always distracts us.
But you're just trying to create an analogy to keep me quiet no matter what I say.
No, you can
compare me to a squirrel.
No. I'm talking to the audience out there. So breathe, normally our bodies have these automatic systems, meaning if you had to think about pumping.
But maybe you're like a squirrel or a chipmunk talking right now.
Of course I am. I'm not saying without
You're a chipmunk with a beard.
Yes, I'm Alvin, of the Chipmunks. And I'm Rocky J. Squirrel, I'm not Bullwinkle, I'm Rocky J. Squirrel, I have the hat to prove it. So, but if you, the audience, want to see paranormal experiences without being bumped in the night, because we all have
by a dude, man.
And by a thing that's in the parallel universe. That's right next. I mean, it's right here. Our parallel experience is right here. Meaning you don't have to go looking in the woods for a ghost. It's right here, right next to you.
No.
That's all you got to do.
Really?
Yes.
Look next to you for a ghost?
Yes. Quiet down. Elevate your Akashic record, your energetic field.
How do you do that?
You breathe 20% more than you normally do. Meaning, unconsciously we breathe enough to run our body, right? That's
and then we can hear a ghost?
Hmm?
Can we hear a ghost?
Yeah, we can see the ghost to have it talk to us.
Are we going to do that now?
Yeah, if you want to.
How's it going to work?
You breathe 20% more than you normally do.
But I mean, the kinetical, okay. You want to try it?
Yeah, if you want to. Right?
Okay.
So audience, straighten your back. Don't cross anything.
We're going to talk to a ghost or see if we can see one.
Yeah, we're going to let the ghost communicate. No,
really?
We're going to let the paranormal world communicate to us. Now you have to realize that just like whenever you talk to someone on Skype and they're on the other side of the world, there's that little, lag time, little bounce of the satellite, sending you there. Even though it's going the speed of light, it still takes nanosecond.
Oh, who cares about that?
So that's what, so you can't let.
It's all in sync. This is as close as you can get when you do a live video.
Right, exactly. So,
You're pretty much in touch with what's going on
right,
there.
so breathe deep, and you breathe 20% more than you normally do, which shuts up your conscious mind. And because the only way you can breathe that way,
What would the conscious mind possibly be saying that's so annoying?
just everything. How am I going to pay my bills? What am I doing? Why do those people hate me?
But I own this house. It's like, what should I do? Let you take over? Like you're the majestic leader of the.
No. You wanted to communicate with the paranormal. We're trying to. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. We can just keep, rambling on.
But how would you be more qualified to
I'm not.
contact spirits than I am?
No, you could do it too, John. All you got to do is breathe 20% more and breathe out 30%. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. I'm not any better at it than you.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'm no better at it. I have a little more experience.
So should we turn all the lights off?
No, it doesn't
Then
matter.
they won't be able to
No.
see.
I mean, the light is, then the camera wouldn't work too good. No, we don't have to turn any lights off.
But there's some light coming in.
Yeah, good. You're the cinematographer.
I'll turn the light off.
You can do whatever you want.
I'll turn the light
You
off.
can do whatever you want. You can turn the light off. Sure, that's fine. Now, if you can put yourself in a state where you can feel what you feel in a synchronistic moment or a deja vu moment, that's like a doorway. That doorway swings open. That gives another potential access to the paranormal. If you know someone who's on the other side, a parent, a grandparent, a friend who has died, you visualize them and you reach out to them. But the whole time, you're focusing your conscious mind on your breath.
Oh, this is how you contact those people from the other side who have passed on. However, they're not ghosts. Is it in some way, could they come back as a ghost, do you think?
Yes,
Or is it...
again, that whole little metaphor of the deja vu.
Oh, they could come back
side.
as like just visiting from the other side and be as a
right,
ghost.
and so to cross that barrier, they have to use erethic energy.
What is eurythic energy?
Oh, it's that field between the parallel universes. Ether. Right now they call it dark matter. But, back in the days of Madame Blavatsky and the Theosophical Society, which I was a member of, along with a number of other esoteric and occult, which were not devil worship, they were scientific in nature.
But you were never one of those like Satanists?
No.
Satan.
No.
Satanist.
No, and all those people who call themselves light workers, the first light worker was Lucifer.
But you didn't study the Satan stuff?
I studied everything, John.
But did you study satanic stuff?
I mean, I read, Crawley's books on it, sure.
You have?
Sure.
But you didn't seem to have any books on it here when you moved out and I moved in.
I basically got rid of my library before you showed up.
But did you ever get worried over the evil stuff
No,
and burn them all?
because the only thing that truly exists, audience, is love. Everything else is an illusion. All of the devil worship stuff, all the religions, all the everything is an illusion, doesn't exist. It's there for different groups with different agendas to manipulate the human race. That's all it is. And we've been stuck in these bags of water to be enabled to be manipulated. Meaning if we were ascended like we're meant to, and that's why when people die, they go to a holding pattern for a little while, and then they're reincarnated, born again.
Can we
right?
contact any of those people that
Sure.
died?
Yeah, yeah. But a lot of them bounce right into another life, right away. And that's the worst, when you're not even given any time to think about what this life was about. And you're supposed to be, awake, as I was telling the story.
When what's too late?
No, not too late. Nothing's too late. There is never,
But do you think I'm gonna die and become a ghost?
if you want to be,
I don't want to be a
then you
stupid
won't be.
ghost.
Then you won't be.
Unless I had to make sure my children are okay.
No, you won't be.
I'd probably just go to the other side.
I mean, you can go to the other side, but you have to be awake. You have to be ascended to ascend above reincarnation. Reincarnation, you come right back. And because of the dharmic wheel of karma, we have to deal with issues, that we did in this life. We manufacture.
Like what? Do you think I have an issue with trying? Good to hear you feeling and listening to Al John. Nice one. I'm ready to go find grace and something else.
We all have issues, John.
Do you think one of my issues is like having something to prove with that famous movie stuff, like trying to be cool and all that, like a rock star?
Yes,
or
you
is that
need-
just something that I liked to do?
No,
or
well,
is that
well, no. What you're looking for is validation, right?
like I'm loved or
Across the board,
like
respected,
a cool,
loved.
like the
Yes.
Michael J. Fox in
Right.
Back to the Future when he was a
Right.
guitar and
Right.
playing a guitar and he was young and
Yep.
perfect and the coolest one
Yep.
on a stage like
Yep.
in the 50s
Yep.
playing guitar.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No.
That's the one that I realized like in the past few months that's what first made me want
To be a rock star.
yeah and do that music and
So have
stuff.
you known any rock stars personally? Do you
Yeah,
know?
my good friend Trivet was a rock star.
Okay.
He went on stage he was on tour with Metallica.
So what did he say about all of that? Was he elated?
He was in The Sword.
So yes, but
I don't know if I should
was he
say it or not
happy
if he wants
doing
people
that,
to
or
know.
was it a drudge, or was it the whole reason for his life's being? Did he feel because most guys who I knew who were in the business were miserable. They lived
He
in
didn't
crappy hotels. Had
Yeah,
terrible
he
food,
said even if you
traveled all
have
the time.
even if they had a rich tour bus that was like 100,000, whatever how much
Right,
it was.
$1 million.
He said how big do you think that really is?
Right,
and he
not
said
too
it's
big.
like it's not even as big as a 1-bedroom apartment
Not
with
even.
all these people living in it
Right.
for this long time, and it's
And
not
they
the
fart
best.
and they smell, and the toilet and the blue juice in the back is disgusting, and that's with $1 million tour bus. Yep. So, no, the thing, true,
I don't know how much does tour bus cost.
I mean, what would make you happy, John?
Their tour bus.
What would make you happy? You.
Me?
Yeah, make you happy.
Having plenty of money so I could stay at this house
Right?
and fix it up here and there to make it a lot nicer one day.
Well, it's sure a lot nicer than it was. I mean, you fixed all the major problems of it. It's safe. It's comfortable. You can stay here for the rest of your life without. I mean, you're pay less than a couple $100 to stay here, right?
Oh, I have a very low mortgage payment,
And
but
your
it's
insurance. So you're under $500, right?
it's more than that if I had to pay off the interest. And
No,
stuff.
but not even doing that. Just paying the mortgage for the next.
This house
20
isn't
years.
like a really rich, expensive house by any means, but
It
it's,
is in
there's
that
enough that.
this house is more special than anything in Hunting Hills because this is an art piece.
Oh,
John.
but I don't want to compare it to Hunting Hills.
Oh, I would. This thing
I
is
can't.
far
I just
better,
wanna-
far better than anything in Hunting Hills. Far better than whatever the fanciest, gated community thing. 'cause
You're
this
just
is-
naming the biggest, richest stuff.
Yeah, because this is an art piece. This place you can't put a price on it. There isn't another place like it. Because George and Inga Solonovich made it as an art piece.
Jamie Hillier is on there talking. I don't know who that is.
Hey, Jamie.
I keep seeing her name, Jamie Hillier. I don't know who. You know, she might not be that into being as public about her.
Well, she's been
self,
watching
but
us from the beginning. She's been watching us from the beginning.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I must have missed some of her comments. Some of the other ones, people were commenting more, and I talked to them.
Right.
I made friends with one of them, kind of, on Instagram.
Again, what makes us happy is not money in the bank, or a fancy car, or really nice threads, or being cut. What makes us happy is when we make other people happy. That is really the reason why we are in these little bodies.
Unless you're hurt so much personally that you have to feel okay too. Like you have to feel good for yourself. Like you have to treat others like you treat yourself.
Right. Yeah. And most people hurt themselves worse than they do other people. Like, you know, when you were going on about the people who hurt you, and I said, you don't have to hurt them. They're doing a fine enough job doing it themselves. You know, my parents, especially my father, because he was Italian, and when he was a boy, being Italian in 1909, when he was a boy, was like being a Mexican and a black person and a Muslim all rolled up in one. Meaning, no, I'm not kidding you. You read the newspapers, because America has always been that way. Who's ever the last off the boat.
How would somebody be a Mexican and a Muslim and black?
Worse than being, because the black man is in the social strata is on the third rung, right? Even when he was a slave, because when the Irish came over on the boat in the 1840s.
How did they look down? I can't imagine how they looked down on the Irish.
Well, you saw all the whatchamacallit movies, the Back to the Future movies, right? And our character.
But my grandfather was Irish.
And our hero goes back. Your father's Irish.
Yeah.
He was born in Ireland.
Well, right? I don't know if they'd say that or not, but he's Irish.
Right. So, bottom line, in that movie, Back to the Future, the one where they go to the West, right? Well, Marty's great-grandfather is an Irish guy that he meets, right? And when that guy has a baby, he's looking at his grandfather, right?
Reach out to ghosts.
And well, I am reaching out to ghosts right now because I'm bringing all the spirits of everything that I'm talking about into it. An audience, are you breathing 20% more and breathing out 30? Are you focusing on, because you guys, you know, you're not going to see a ghost here. They're going to see a ghost in their room. That's where they're going to
see one here.
But not through the electronic mode. You'll see a ghost here if you allow yourself.
You want the light on?
No, you can keep it off. That's fine. What's it look like on the screen? Turn one of those lights on in that room, and then that'll be enough.
You don't want the bright light on?
No, and then with the fan light. Turn on that.
I'm so tired of doing freaking gaffing.
Okay, I'll do it.
Wait, no, forget it.
I'll do it. No, just, we'll just turn this light on. It's no big deal. Yeah. We got that switch. We'll just hit this.
We're stage hands.
Yeah.
Professional stage.
There we go. See, that's enough light. That's all we need.
Yeah.
That's some more than enough. That's it. And maybe now a little backlight. That should be enough. I'm a big fan of natural light myself, but this is good enough.
The beer natural light or just the natural?
Natural
Hopefully not the
illumination.
beer. That should never be in G-rated video. Is this G-rated or PG? This is PG. Oh, what are you doing?
I'm burping.
Oh.
In North Africa, after eating a meal or drinking tea or anything of that nature, if you don't burp or fart, that's a dissing on your host. So I'm only expressing another culture's motif. So, has anyone seen a spirit? Who has
Maybe
been-
there's one in that cellar thing behind you. Can you
There
call it to
there's
that?
one right here. Right here. There's an Indian right here.
There's an Indian?
Yeah, yeah. Because this whole hill is the Cherokee's most sacred place. Right up above us are these gigantic rocks the size of school buses. And it's not like a mountain or a hill that has, these are gigantic rocks that someone placed on top of each other. And all throughout,
It wasn't just the way the earth was made and somehow they came
because
up.
they were rocks. It's like Ayers Rock in Australia. It's as big as Manhattan. It's 2,800 feet high, and it's got sheer cliffs. It's a rock. Geologically, it's a rock, meaning the Europeans, when they showed up, they couldn't climb it with ropes and pylons and things like that, because they'd nail something in, it would break up, because it was a rock. It wasn't a geologic formation. And this one white guy who owned a big, hacienda, and he had cows out there that ate, Australia could have fed the world. It had 18 feet of black bone topsoil. And it has rain going through there all the time because two major weather patterns go right through there. And the British brought cows and sheep that ate the grass to the ground, and then these big rains would come, and over 70 years it washed the topsoil down to bedrock. And that's why basically Australia looks like a parched rock. But Ayers Rock is red. And it has caves all around it. And they're not like caves like you have like Dixie Caverns, where there's stalactites and stalagmites. The surfaces of those caves, it looks like somebody cored them out with a laser. They're smooth. And inside, the roofs are kind of covered with soot of, the indigenous folk who would go in there in the rainy times and start a fire, and the smoke would go up and soot the thing. And then they would take the coal and draw paintings on the walls. And when I went there...
I just can't get over you said a laser.
A laser.
It makes your skin smooth. like Al's face with laser.
The cave surface, not somebody's skin. The cave surface. And anyway, so the tourist guide would go in there and draw like the little figure. But when everybody left, I stayed in the cave and meditated. And what I saw was thousands of years of drawings on the cave wall, just like Plato's treatise on the cave. And when you make an animation with a book and you draw one little figure and then another and then you go, that's what that I was meditating, and I saw a moving picture on the wall. And out of that moving picture came the spirits of the Aborigines, people of that time. And if you want to see a ghost, that's kind of what you have to do. You have to take yourself out of this kind of construct of reality.
The limitations of five senses?
Yes, exactly.
But that could be dangerous because then borderline people could say it's crazy.
Oh, that's
So how do you do it without them being
Because
in any
you
way
have-
being able to say that you're crazy?
Because you have to be awake. Meaning, yes, if you go
Because those big powerful people with a lot of money,
right.
man, they can just say, "Oh, he's crazy."
Well, basically, they can't just say. I mean, yes, you can be blamed, or you can be shunted, or you.
Not
can be,
me. That's
no,
the point.
You as
Is
the
to
pejorative. You,
Reach out to the
all
ghosts and
of
stuff,
you,
try to
all
see if
of you,
one
not just
could be
you,
caught on
John.
camera.
Everybody can be bullied, and that's what bullying.
Oh, I
is.
caught one on camera. I have a ghost on camera.
Oh, that's good.
It's called the Ghost of Inga.
Okay.
I
But,
point
you know,
it out, show it
within-
over and over again.
I
It's
used to work.
clear.
I used to be part of a thing called the U.S. Psychotronic Society, and it kind of
Unless there could be images. Unless there could be images in every little, natural
there are
thing.
everything that you make, and that's what co-creation
I gotta
is.
pee really bad.
Well, go ahead, Pete. You don't have to turn it off.
There can be images in every little subtle.
There are everything that. Look at this.
I'll find one right
They
here.
put little flowers.
I found a cheesy one. Okay, I found one.
Good.
Here it is. There's his eye, there's his eye, there's like his nose and his mouth. Like a weird, there's his eyes, his nose and his mouth.
And that's
his
what
face.
they put on churches back in, the Renaissance of all those big cathedrals. They had gargoyles, and that's what they were doing.
See if I can find another one.
They were basically.
Like a really weird, I like the ones that, oh, there's a funny one. There's a funny one. Here's an eye, there's his nose and his mouth. Eye, nose, mouth. Something like that. I don't know where his other eye is. Eye somewhere, nose, mouth, a wide face. And see, I tried to reach out to aliens.
Well, they're right here, buddy.
And when I was going to sleep at night,
Yep.
I saw those images like that and like this face with the eye, the nose, and the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them the wind was blowing a bush and it kept changing so fast that there were these distinct, very vivid, clear images flashing many, many times a second, so fast that it felt like I was communicating with an alien. With these images flashing so fast, it was getting information out of me or getting my intelligence up higher, my IQ up higher, and it was terrifying. And it was like I thought at any moment this huge gray alien was going to come in from the opened screen door, and I was looking at that bush with the wind blowing it at night. But I was kind of tired, and it could have been kind of half in my sleep or something, so I don't want to say if I saw anything or not.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so fast that it had this huge intelligence level that must have been many, 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 many times what a human being is capable of, which I think our IQs are only capable of going up to about 200. And I think it was way more highly intelligent, and I was like really scared of it. And that was back in 2004 or 5, and I was a student at a school. I was a student at Chapman University, but I think it was so late at night. that I was tired, and I was kind of half asleep, so I can't say if I saw it for sure. But it felt like it was flashing these images, like this is a face right here, the eyes, nose, mouth. This one's a wide face right there, the mouth, nose, eye. And I saw it so fast that were many images flashing, but looked like all sorts of different things, animals, different things communicating with me, ideas, and what I thought of those ideas based on how fast it would do it, like many, many times a second, of all these clear, vivid images as the wind blew the shape of the bush into these different shapes. And it was really interesting, and I thought it was a hugely, highly attuned alien, because I had reached out to aliens. That's who I was trying to contact, and I tried to reach out to ghosts too. But I think it was because it was late at night, and I'm going to use the bathroom really bad, but and I think I was just tired. I'm not like crazy or something. I don't want to sound like I'm
Bottom
crazy.
line, guys, whenever you open yourself up, either through
It was like asking me things based on these images it showed me, but so many of them so fast that it was like, must have been way more highly intelligent than I could have ever, that any human can ever be capable of.
well, humans are capable of anything as long as they're coming from love.
Unless there's somehow, unless it was just a regular human that they did something to it to make it way smarter.
And that's what transhumanism is.
And I thought it was I'll just tell the truth. I thought it was in about a $300 million craft that was flying, hovering with the ability to conceal itself with clouds.
Yep, they got
And
them.
I
Big triangles.
thought that maybe it, in my
Captain America.
tired, sleepy thoughts at night that I wasn't
They're
sure if I
flying
was.
aircraft carriers. That's exactly what they are. I mean,
That I
there's-
may have been partially asleep or
our
something.
technology is so far ahead of where we are in
I can't even say too much more about how much
in
but
the
it was like,
material world.
gosh, terrifying. It was like I reached out to aliens with all my might. And that's what I got, was some strange, highly attuned thing that I think was just a human. If it was, and in my thoughts, because it wasn't even that, because it was just because I was sleepy at night and I was imagining it.
Well, you
as
were
I was
right
going
on
to
the-
sleep, as I was,
John, you were right
I was
on.
half asleep.
You were right on that.
Yeah,
field
because I
of
don't
the
want somebody to say
paranormal.
who's crazy or whatever. Or anyone could say that. Who knows what types of people are out there? that
Being crazy is not
about anyone, not me.
um,
Yeah, but then I'd be able to refute it if I had to.
It's not a
So-
technical term.
But that was terrifying, seeing something like that flashed so many different times in the shape of the bush.
Well, I told the audience.
As the wind was blowing the bush. But
I've told you guys many a story.
I probably was on too much caffeine.
Yeah, that would.
And it was like late at night and I was trying to sleep. I was half asleep. I couldn't sleep. The cats were scaring me.
Yep. Well, cats are they are paranormal triggers. They live their life with one foot
I was
in one
convinced
dimension
it was-
and one
I
in the
got
other.
a clear idea from somewhere. I don't know where. $300 million craft that was
If you
flying over,
read the
concealed in
Egyptian
the
Book
clouds.
of the Dead, everything that John is
Like had the
talking about-
clouds fallen around it as everywhere it could go, but just an American craft. Eventually, I read like 10 years later. I think I was thinking about it, but I can't really say exactly if that was real or not, or if it was just because I was tired at night.
There is a
Or if it was just because I was
craft
tired at night.
called the SR-76, fastest airplane on record. That aircraft
But I
comes
haven't-
from technology in the 40s.
I haven't been that sleepy and half asleep at night for years to even think of anything. I feel so.
In the
Well
70s, there was
adjusted.
a craft called the Aurora that
I
does
wouldn't
exactly
be
what
half
you're
asleep
looking
like that anymore. It's like I feel okay. But they could have some amazing types of crafts that they haven't shown the public
for. That's
yet.
right. That's what I'm telling you.
What's the Aurora?
It's a craft that can go from, about 27,000 miles an hour. It has
How could it go 27,000?
because it has a pulse
Miles an
jet
hour.
engine, meaning it gives explosions out the back of the aircraft, and it
But is that
surrounds.
a real one that exists?
Oh yeah.
How do you know?
Because there's a magazine, a journal.
But you're good at scaring me. When I first moved to this house, I thought there were strange creatures out here.
Well, there are. There are strange creatures.
No.
Yeah,
There are?
up on the top ridge, there are a bunch of coyotes. Oh, pretty strange. If you see them as a pack.
But I'm not scared of that stuff anymore. I feel safe in the dark out here. It's so amazing.
Well, because we are in this little bubble of
And
spiritual.
you can turn all the lights off and feel safe here.
Yeah.
But when I first moved here and you were here, there was
Right.
something I was still really terrified about being out there all the time pushing that big agenda stuff. or
Yeah,
whatever.
you were still, had the taint of working in real estate. You hadn't let yourself.
Maybe I could work if I had to work at it. I don't know if I'll be able to or not.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it'll be whatever you have to be.
Hopefully it
You
doesn't.
know, Patty Page sings on, you know, what am I going to be? And she said, Que sera, sera, you'll be whatever you'll be. And pretty much that has been my mantra my whole life since I was about 5 when I saw that movie with my grandma.
But you said you kept enjoying yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
still do.
Use the bathroom.
Go use it. Anyway, so, has anyone seen any paranormal dynamics around them? Or in their, you know, when you close your eyes and you're breathing at 20% and breathing out your 30%, what you're doing is you're bringing in prana and chi, which is the life force of the universe. It is that black matter, that, you know, etheric force, that ether. And that's what animates this bag of water. You know, we're just really, you know, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Meaning, I was an EMT, I worked in hospitals. I've seen a lot of people die. And what's quite interesting, when people really die, not almost die, you know, like that character in the Princess Bride was, well, he's almost dead, he's not quite dead. When you're almost dead and quite dead, you still have animation from the prana
I'm
and chi.
having
But
trouble
when you're
not
dead,
telling the truth about that stuff anymore.
You
I'm
should
having
always
trouble
tell the
keeping
truth.
that secret.
you should, oh, well, you know, there's a big difference about lying and not opening your mouth and spilling the beans. Meaning there's a lot of stuff. Meaning when people tell me,
But I don't know if I want to tell the truth to the whole world about all this stuff that I think really happened that I was a part of.
then don't tell them.
Yeah, so
That's
I probably
not,
shouldn't.
that's not lying, that's just not spilling
I
the
just
beans.
want to live my life okay the rest of my whole
Right,
life.
well
and
then
not-
that's all you
not
gotta
feel
do,
too bad.
you know, me, I am your sensei
Without,
outlaw.
you know, but still be kind. Still be kind. to
Well,
others,
that's-
still
that is
still be
what-
kind
that
to
is the-
everyone
That
as much
is
as possible.
the ground platform.
You know, I don't want to break too many moral boundaries and
No,
hurt people,
yeah.
or I don't want to be aware of people's
So
suffering.
John, when I
too
go
much.
back on your channel and look at this, after you've posted this up, will I be able to read the chats of everyone on my phone?
The what?
Chat. But this is a live chat, right? Right now, right?
Yeah, that's live.
So,
Yeah, but that was just stuff that I thought I saw.
no,
when
but
was
will
like
I
half
be able
asleep.
to go on my phone and look at this on your channel and read what people have said?
Yeah, you can read it all.
Okay, good. What are
Yeah.
people saying? Anybody saying anything?
Different stuff. 13 people watching. I think it's got 7 thumbs up. It's been on in over an hour. How do we call out to? I'm afraid to do any more of that stuff. When I
Well,
when I
don't
was
do it then.
younger, I wanted like at least $1 billion. I wanted to be president of the United States. I want.
Who would want
there's
to be
certain
that
things
job?
I,
But it's
I,
such, I mean, look at poor Donald.
I,
You think
I-
he's happy?
I had these huge aspirations, which is why I accomplished more, which is why you know, a little more than normal. I didn't do that. I didn't.
There's a
accomplish
great
that.
book
There's-
called The Razor's Edge by Sinclair Lewis. And they made a movie about it. And it's about these,
But I wanted my son, my wife and I wanted my son to be a big actor, and he's got
Rowan you're talking about?
400,000 subscribers. He's got like almost 300 million views. 300 million views on YouTube. He's got a way bigger page than my page. His mom's channel. We wanted him to be an actor, and we worked hard at trying to. We're gonna have him go to Hollywood, but we didn't live there. We lived somewhere else in America, and so he ended up getting really. We had these huge aspirations. Talk to ghosts. You know, stuff like that. These really strange, different. Someone was like tons of money. Someone was all these different things, and the money didn't come true as much. The money didn't come true as much, but it kind. But
Well,
some of it came true and some of it didn't.
he's still young, you know.
We had
You never
these big
know.
aspirations, but like we reached out so weird and different than what was normal. Like one of them was time travel. She wanted to time travel. That got real weird at one point.
What was the weirdness about that?
Well, I don't want to speak on her behalf because she doesn't want to sound crazy, but she
Did you
had an
ever,
experience that was like time travel.
have you ever heard of the Mandela effect? Mandela effect is when,
Mandela?
yeah, you know, Nelson Mandela. There's
Oh, that's kind of scary in some ways.
well, because here's a guy who had like 7 different lives.
Was he a big rich guy? Or
Well-
just peaceful and nice?
Well, he was all the above. I mean, he started out as just, you know, a normal person. He got a lot of, you know, I want to make something of myself and change the world, blah, blah, blah. Like be a rock star, like you
Yeah.
want to be.
Change the
And he
world.
went off and became a lawyer. And then he got involved.
and then all of a sudden, what did he have to do?
He
Become
became
the
a human
greatest
rights.
white guy
No,
alive or something.
he's
Have to-
black. He's blacker than
Oh,
black and
Yeah,
dead.
dude.
And so he became a lawyer, and then he became a civil rights lawyer in South Africa, which is pretty tough, since they were at the height of white supremacy there. That was legal, you know. And he got put in jail for 28 years, and then he got let out and became president. So he's got all these parallel lives, and that's what a lot of people talk about the Mandela effect, is that people are like going along and they got this life, and then all of a sudden their friends meet them and they got a whole different life, and it's like
What do
they
you
got
mean
a
a different life?
life.
Like we could all have a different life?
Yeah. Yep. That's the Mandela. You know, like
You mean, what do you mean? Like you're involved in some job or the people you know and
like me.
everything?
I was an electrician, a serious electrician. You know, that was my main thing.
Oh, okay.
And then
But we don't
because
wanna
I
talk about
started
stuff too much.
wiring
Oh, but
theaters, I became a theater guy. And then by being in theater, I met the avant-garde of New York in the 1960s and 70s. So I became an artist, you know. And one of the reasons I went to Juilliard is that I wanted to study being a scenic
But you
painter.
didn't get a degree from Julie.
No, I didn't, but I learned how to paint. And learning
But
how
you-
to paint, how to do trompe-l'oeil was way more valuable than any degree I could have, because then I went on and started making a living being a painter, you know? And I made big, gigantic murals all over New York. And instead of, I mean, I got kind of paid by NISCA and the NEA, but in reality, I was just doing it because I wanted to. Because I was living downtown below, in the Wall Street area off of Pearl, and there were all of these alleys that had amazing walls that nobody really walked by. And so you could spend hours painting away there, and because of the way the
But
light
it was just those graffiti artists that walked into a
yeah,
abandoned
I was the
building.
same thing, but I was doing paintings. I wasn't tagging. I was doing paintings of like landscapes of upstate, you know, photographs. I'd say, oh, that's pretty, and I would do a scenic, just like in movies, how they paint a scenery that makes it look like the Wild
No.
West or the mountains or the this. And I learned how that's called trompe-l'oeil. It's having a forced perspective. And so, yeah, I went to Juilliard, A, because there was a girl who I really liked, B,
There was
oh yeah,
that went to Juilliard.
yeah, Betsby, she was amazing. I got a ton of photos of her, a beautiful dancer. She started with her
How
husband.
old was she?
Oh, we were both in our early 20s. And she and I dated many times. I would come back and she wasn't with anybody, and we'd hook up and we'd move in because I was really good at always finding an interesting place to live for not much money. And I was always having a good time, and she was big time girl having a good time. To the point where she and her husband started the kitchen. And I was part of that, you know, the kitchen. the Knitting Factory, Franklin Furnace, ABC No Rio, what other places? Six Sense Gallery,
But
PS1.
how do we contact ghosts?
They're already here, John. You just have
How do
to.
we see them on camera? How can we just make them show up on camera and just? How do we just make them just show up right
You
here?
can't make anything or anyone do anything. But
Can I come out of my body? Can I like come out of my body and
sure, if you're disciplined enough, it's called remote viewing.
Is there some way I could have an out of body experience?
Yeah.
Don't fart on me.
No, I won't.
Wait.
You're the only guy who really farts a lot. You know?
Wait.
You know? Why don't you just sit in the chair?
Whoops. I kicked the cat with water.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Okay. I'm a big man. Wait.
So focus your breath.
Alright, man.
20% in.
What do I do? But you're not gonna fart?
No, I'm not gonna.
Okay. What? Okay. How do I have an out of body experience without doing that stupid thing where they make somebody pass out or something that's gonna hurt? I don't want to hurt my body.
If you breathe 20% more than you normally do, conscious breath in, and breathe out 30%, conscious breath out, and focus your.
But can I have an out of body experience and fly around out
Yes, you can. But you have to quiet your mind down to be able to do it.
without hurting my body?
No, your body will actually be.
Without dying.
Your
Or
body,
without suffering and hopefully without dying.
Yep. Just see how well you can breathe. See if you can focus your conscious mind on your breath in and your breath out.
It's cold, the ground is cold. It's like maybe I can pretend that I'm buried up there, that I died somehow and got buried up there in the hill on my own property. And I'm flying around. Or maybe I met a girlfriend or soulmate or something before I died and didn't have to do it. No. Okay, I'll just do this. I'll just try to die. Is there some way you can do
Breathe
it?
in
Flatliners?
20%. No. Just breathe in 20%.
Or something.
And
that
breathe
old
out
movie from the
30%.
80s.
TV audience, are you doing that? YouTube audience, you breathing? Is anyone having this experience? Can anyone focus that? You first have to breathe. Breathe in 20% more. Fill those
This is
lungs.
like a cave.
Yeah.
This floor is cold. It smells like a cave.
You're experiencing the cave up there up the hill. That's what you're experiencing. Let yourself go there.
It smells like a
Dank.
cave.
The cave would smell,
Yeah,
dank.
just this floor.
Yep. Well, you are no longer here, John. You
I'm
are
gonna
in
try to
that
change
cave.
this way,
You're in that cave.
so I'm not like breathing, inhaling under like when you're farting.
I'm not farting, John.
It's terrible.
Breathe, focus your conscious mind on your breath. See
Can
yourself in
you
that cave.
consciously?
Just do it. As
Can I
Yoda says, don't try.
Can I reach out to a soulmate somewhere?
Go to the cave first. You
Either
have to
one
go.
I already
You have to
know, or
go.
somebody who is
You
going to
have
keep me
to take
company.
No, you have to take a path. So go to the cave, because that's where
A
you're.
cave?
The cave up above us. Our little spiritual cave of the Cherokee. That's about 200 yards from where you are.
Yeah.
Go there. See that cave. Lie in that cave. Feel the cold ground on your back.
It's not a lot of space in there.
No. Well, it's big enough for your Akashic energetic self. You don't have to take your body with you.
Can I just
remotely
hover
view.
through? Is there a big cave up in there somewhere, or is it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
that little cave?
No, that's just the doorway. Of course there's a big cave, it goes all the way
I haven't
underground.
been lifting tons of weights with my arms. They're not like all super strong. I haven't been doing much exercise. I'm just on here for everyone to see me laying on the ground. Trying to, I don't know. Okay, what do I do? Concentrate and meditate instead of talking about stuff?
Yep.
Okay. Can I have an out of body can I have an out of body experience and see the soulmate that I'm supposed to really be closest to my whole life?
If you can breathe 20%
Whether or not
more,
that's Danica or a new person, like
if
really
you can
figure out
breathe 20%
who
more,
somebody I'm
and
supposed
breathe
to
out
actually be with
30%
again.
more, and go into your imaginary mirror behind your eyelids and visualize the cave and your Akashic self going there, you will meet your guides, and your guides will show you your soulmate.
I hear like tick, 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 like those like the when you like go like this with those little drums and they have those like things that you go like this and you it's like I'm hearing those things. Okay, I'll try to actually do it. Where do we just keep quiet and we can all do this?
You got it. That's including you, YouTube audience.
Okay, so we're just gonna go to the other. Where is it? We're going to the cave up there on the
Yep.
hill or somewhere special like
Yep,
that.
yep,
In a cave where it's cold and kind of a nice cold, like 55 or something, like where it's like doesn't feel bad and it's kind of damp and it's like in a nice cave where it's warm in the wintertime and we're in that cave and you tell the thing, I don't know how to do it as much. I don't know how to do that type of stuff as much.
Just breathe 20% more. Quiet your conscious mind. Focus your conscious mind on your breath. 20%
Yeah.
in, 30% out. And take the light of the prana and chi that you're breathing in and illuminate your imaginary mirror. That's right behind your eyelids. That's where you have REM sleep. See it clearly.
Do we have to see the person that we're gonna be spending time with, or what was the thing that we just fly over there? Like we're flying in the
You'll go into the cave and you will meet your guides, and your guides will give you the information you need.
and let them, my spirit guides,
Mm-hmm.
tell me,
Show
me who I'm supposed to be with instead of me trying to
you. Make the connection.
constantly
Yep, yep.
figure out who it is.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
I don't get it. Could you please explain it to me one more time? I didn't hear it. I didn't hear what you
Focus your
specifically-
conscious mind. Quiet it down. All the questions, just put it to the side and focus your conscious mind on your breath. Breathing in 20% more and out 30. And to do that, you have to let go of your connection
Yeah, I know.
to the material world.
I let go of my material connection my connection to the material
To
world.
your body.
Material?
Your body. That's material world.
And actually try to go fly over there?
No, just close your eyes
That's scary.
and see in your
That's
imaginary,
scary.
just like you
I
would
don't know
have
if
a
I
dream.
want to leave my body. I don't think I want to really leave
Well, you
my
do
body.
it every time you have a dream. That's what you're doing when you have a dream. You're not in your body.
Because if somebody...
Your eyes are flittering
that's
back
not really
and forth.
good to do, leave your body.
Sure it is. You do it every night when you dream. You're not in your body when you dream. You're having REM sleep, rapid eye movement. You're watching your dream on your eyelids. They're like a movie screen.
But I don't want to fly over there right now because I'm afraid they'll leave my body behind. It could die or something.
No, it won't die.
It won't die?
No. Because you're connected to it by your...
I'm not going to do it.
Okay, then don't.
I don't want to try to...
But you guys out there in the YouTube audience who are watching this, you try and do it, and then comment on the chat back to us.
But can I see somebody that is going to keep me company, that's a soulmate that I want to be with?
Yes.
That I want to be with.
If you,
Whoever,
yes,
whoever.
yes, you're not going to
is-
see it right now. You have to project your Akashic thread into a vehicle, which is the cave, because the cave is in a place that has one foot in the paranormal and the other foot in this place right now. And the only way that you can bend time, space, is through the paranormal. All the other ways that are tried through are very limited physics. Is very limited.
You know, I could be a really amazing rock star, but it would require a tremendous amount of
Commitment, time, and effort.
creating that,
Yep, commitment, time, and effort.
and just so many waking minutes of the day deprived. You know, getting my body to look a certain way. My body doesn't look it right now, unless I was just confident enough about being heavier, well, like a little heavier, not that heavy, but in the way that I was playing since I was 15 with that cool original sounding music. And I'd have to work so unbelievably hard at making the music really, really, really good all myself, like doing all that stuff all myself, and looking really, really good and perfect, like it's like starving myself. And then that would require so much work. I don't know if, it's possible, but I don't know if I want to go with that cool stuff anymore, or if I can settle for something that's like more comedy or a little different and original. And I don't think I need to do that much, like look like all ripped in my stomach and like, you know, have abs and all that. And, you know, I don't have it now.
So John, I'm on your channel. How do I look at the live chat?
This is me just trying to feed my ego and, you know.
So how do I look at it?
But
What do
anyway, and that's how everybody is. They want to feel happy about what makes them, you know, feel happy.
So how do I look at your live chat?
Just on the page,
Right?
on the channel, it's called.
Right. I'll go back to John Birmingham. So there I am on the John Birmingham.
So where do I meditate and I go to, where do we all do meditate? We just
Breathe
without
20%
in and out.
more and quiet your conscious mind.
How is it going to help us?
Because it gives you access to your Akashic record, which is the doorway to all those things you want to know about.
I feel like somebody's trying to step on my head and kick it or something.
You know,
Like somebody that I'm friends with from high school or something.
it's just you and me, so there's nobody physically here that's going to kick you in the head.
Like somebody's gonna try to step on my head and like,
No, not going to happen.
that's how I feel about some that some of those people can see. I don't know.
So how do I find the live chat?
Not that there's anything wrong with my high school, but just like one or two, a few, I don't know what to say about it. Maybe that's my own mind not being crazy, but creating, like maybe that's a way that human beings, when they feel a pain on their body somewhere, when they feel like, say like maybe my head was on the floor for too long, the back of my head, and it was pressing on my head, and then I felt like, oh, this kind of sucks, and it just wasn't working, and I felt like somebody was like so angry they were gonna kick my head. Like it felt like they were gonna try to kick my head further to the ground, which is like on a cement floor already.
Yeah, I figured out how to do it.
Wow, it echoed 3 times.
Yeah, because I'm watching the live chat here.
It feels like a cave. Are we sort of at ground, when we're at ground level?
You're almost at the ground level of the cave, that's for sure.
What's the cave? Oh,
Well, you know, what the hell then?
no. It feels like a cold cave ground. It smells like kind of like a subtle scent of firewood and cave-ish smelling cave. I like caves.
Yep, there you are.
And
Nice
it's
cave.
so, like in a country accent, like, cause I was born here, so
You were.
I was born in the South.
Thank God you're a country boy.
I don't know how I'd survive if a country boy had to, if I could even be I guess I'm a country boy, but I'm Italian. And how I'd even
Well, that's part of the
survive.
country, you know. Italy's like, you know, they got mountains, they got farms, they got goats, they got.
Yeah. I'd have to live off of tree bark or grass. I'd have to just live off of grass.
Oh, that's kind of what I'm doing.
If I had, if it was the end of the world, but that's not gonna happen. That's what you do, is live off of tree bark and grass?
Yeah, well, I live off of the things that are growing in the woods, that's for sure.
We should start we should have like a well-produced short film of like Owl, the
Sensei Al Bob, your favorite though?
the homeless man of the woods.
Yeah, the homeless man in the woods.
You
Yeah.
know
Well, I mean, that is my home, so I'm not really
the
homeless.
nature man.
Yeah, nature man.
Like have you like out in nature, like naked or something?
Yeah,
or like,
wearing leaves on my
Yeah.
privates, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Well. Oh man, I haven't been exercising as much
Oh, Jane Jones says,
Oh.
you boys can open up a summer stock theater.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, we are. Living entities have souls and will one day return back.
Okay.
When they
Well-
try to sleep.
What kind of owls do you have there, Owl Bob and Jimmy John?
Well, you know, one thing about here, there are owls. I don't know if you've seen them, Johns, but there's spirit owls here that have wingspans of 15, 20 feet. And their body, they're this tall.
Really? No, not that big.
Yeah, they're that big.
That's too much.
No, they can pick up your cat and have it for breakfast.
No.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Like, what would it do? Like,
They got town, I mean, the most,
That's too.
the most efficient
I think they're about
hunting
maybe
bird.
about this big.
No, they're, I mean,
Maybe about
talk to
that
Alex, Alex will tell you. He's
I've heard them.
Right.
I've heard them a
And
lot.
they're
There's like
really big, I mean, there are a lot of owls here, all different types, but there are these owls that are ancient
they
spirit
can't be
owls.
that big.
They're that big.
Oh come on.
Yep.
Well then why don't I get to see? Oh, you said one flew at your car one
Yeah,
day.
yeah, exactly. And its wingspan, it came out of a tree, it popped down, its wings went out, and it just kind of zipped right through the lights, and the wingspan was as wide as the road. And it kind of went right above my car and kept going.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I've seen them a couple more times.
Did it do a Hail Hitler sign like you just did?
No.
An owl that's a.
Well, they don't have arms, so they couldn't do that. Well, guys, I'm really reading your text now, and I really like, this is way better. The stuff you're saying here is way better than the normal, hey, how you doing? Like those shoes? It's, you guys actually are asking some interesting, and making some interesting statements. John W. Scared the shit out of me, cat, and shot my body with a device that was sent straight back into my body, tons of negative activity. And he's talking about an alien that.
Yeah, but that Hail Hitler stuff is serious. But it was. So, I feel like it was so long ago it can't
They're
happen
still
again.
doing. Oh no, but they're here now. They're still doing it. Most of our government is being run by those guys.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's
I
why
don't
things
know.
are so weird.
It doesn't seem that bad in America
Well, it's pretty much.
or
always-
Germany anymore.
Oh, well, it's pretty much always the same old thing. I like it. Yes, I like this one here. James Jones, want to do something different? Take a picture of yourself standing under the sun and see your alien overself. He's talking about
Alien over.
overself. When you let the sun do a shadow straight down, it's a different dimensional energy, and you can see, the whatever character you are, because we're made up of characters. I mean, like in England, they're kind of ruled by the reptiles. In America, we're kind of ruled by the Greys, and in Germany, they were ruled by the Aryans.
You think?
I know.
Or is that
I mean,
just
I
their
don't
undercover
know,
name? They're
that's-
human. They're human beings or something. They have like inside clubs or something. They call themselves that. I think they're
well,
humans.
there is that, but when it comes to who is really pulling the strings, in England, who's pulling the strings are
I
creatures
don't know.
that are reptiles. A guy named David Icke has written a lot about that.
I think it's all about just being your best self, like being kind to others if possible, and doing whatever we're supposed to do on Earth. And I don't think it's as serious as that this big like conspiracy theory stuff that's like too crazy. I think that stuff doesn't affect us as much, and we just keep living our lives, and we eventually die, get old if we're lucky enough, and die one day.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything too much different other than we're supposed to be kind to people as much as possible.
There
Go
was a
through the
very
ups and downs,
interesting
test to see how
film
much we can do, you know,
about
still
magic
getting to feel it.
and magicians, and I'm forgetting the name of the film, but Michael Caine was in it, and David Bowie was in it, and David Bowie played Nikola Tesla when he did his experiments in Colorado Springs. And Tesla was trying to develop teleportation, instead of having to take a car or a bus or a train or an airplane someplace or a boat, you could walk into a little booth and be sent to someplace on the other side of the earth through radio waves, right? And he perfected it, but what happened was, you would step into the booth, you'd hit the button, and yes, you would appear over there, but the guy who stepped into the booth would be annihilated. And the atoms would be reconfigured in the other booth, and a copy
Whoa.
of you would be over there, and you wouldn't know that you weren't the original. And it was called teleportation. And because in a horrific field, there can't be any more than one soul at a time, this one bag of water would be annihilated, and a new one over there would be teleported or reconfigured etherically, and your soul would go bing. And that's why people who have looked at this think that our bodies are avatars. And so this a new one created over there, and your soul will go into that one. And that's why reincarnation,
The cat went down the steps.
manifests.
That is, I don't know how to,
Take that one, eh?
sounded like you're, I don't even want to say what that sounded like. But, can you explain?
Jane,
I don't
Jones
understand
says the
that.
frog people
How could somebody's whole body be incinerated? How could humankind even have the technology?
Because our technology that we know of is just a pittance of what's, like you said, you saw the flying saucer that made itself invisible in the clouds, and that's a technology that we don't
But that's
have.
human. I think that's
yeah.
human technology.
Yeah, yeah. And so is teleportation. Tesla did it in the 1890s.
But that's not disintegrating a whole body and having it go into, and having their soul go into another one.
Yeah, that's teleportation.
I don't believe that's possible. I think that's too much.
Well, I don't believe in anything, John. I just have faith in love's
You think somehow they're able to
creation.
like create a whole new human body over here that is you, and then have you
It's a
go
copy,
into it?
just like a Xerox machine. Yep.
Why
Just
would they
like-
have to destroy the old one?
Because, in arethic physics, the soul can't be in two different bodies at the same time. So if you're transporting and teleporting the body over there and re-assimilating it electrically, this one is annihilated, that one is created, and your soul goes bing.
But that would be like killing somebody,
Oh,
and
yes.
then that
And
is
then
not going to necessarily mean that they're going to be able to.
No, you're not
live in the
killing.
next
You're not
body.
killing the soul. You're just annihilating that body.
I personally think, you know what I think is that they tried experimenting with human beings and extending our lives, and all they could come up with was mixing a pig and a human and having it live like hardly at all and just die. and
That's
be
called a
messed
chimera.
up.
That's called a chimera.
I've never seen anyone in my whole life
The Nazis did that.
or
in
encountered anyone around
30s
me
and
that
40s.
was so powerful that I was aware of that was superhuman.
Well, most humans basically are so distracted by the illusion of their material goings on that they don't even see what's going on. Meaning right now, Donald Trump, with his tweets and all the craziness that he's doing, he is performing an act for his employers, because what's going on right in front of us is that our government is being destroyed. The EPA, the Housing Authority, Health and Services, all of those things are being torn apart and reconfigured into a way that will restructure our democracy and our government. And we don't even know what's going on right in front of us. But if you just, read about, there's a book, a journal called Proceedings, kicked out by the CFR. There is a, if you read the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, London, about 20 different newspapers, you will see what's going on. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, but all of these journals lay out from their point of view what's going on. And if you put it all together, as they say, connect the dots, you can see what's going on.
Well, in my experience, I don't think that those people exist, the superhuman people on Earth, unless they're in a different galaxy and they have difficulty getting all the way over here. But, well, I missed what that person said. I was going to try to read what they said, the person. The idea of breaking the sound barrier and now the speed of light barrier, we are realizing interdimensionality, thus the Mandela effect.
Right. Yep. Meaning you existing parallelly at the same time. Here's one life you had, here's another life you had, here's another life you had. But most people get stuck. They get married, they have kids, they got to pay the rent, and they don't allow themselves.
But they love each other and they stay healthy enough because they all sound like they're three people in a group or 4 or 5, whatever, a family. One of them's messed up and really stressed out, and the other ones are feeling okay. They're gonna kind of like reach out to that person and bring them up at the same level, and it helps them all to live way longer, healthier, happier lives. In my experience, from what I've seen, when they have a family, like a happy family, or at least it's been proven that happens with a relationship, with a man and a woman who are in a long-term relationship. Usually they live longer lives.
Yeah.
As opposed to a single person.
Yeah.
But
well, even a single person,
it's not always true, but it's
what it's about is your connection, the human connection to other people. Meaning, if you live a life where you isolate yourself from emotion and empathy, you're going to have a shorter life. But if you have a life that is connected to everyone around you through empathy, then you're going to have a pretty long life. You don't have to be married per se, but you do have to be connected.
Well, that's not a definite. That's not a definite. Something could go wrong with anyone.
If you read,
somebody get in a car wreck and die.
Oh, yeah.
I could die right now.
Yeah, you can fall down those stairs.
I'd be trying to use the bathroom because I have to use the bathroom. And all of a sudden I could like fall and hit my head in the ground and die.
Yeah, exactly. Getting outside the box, expand your mind. And remember, you can go to my channel, Dreamy Dreamland, with Sensei Al Bob, and see my channel. And there's more of this. And I'm learning to do live chats. My one limitation is living out in the woods. I have no internet. I have to travel, 30 miles to a library and about 20 miles to the IHOP, and the IHOP, kicks you off the Wi-Fi every 20, 30 minutes. And that's why I came to the school, because we got an amazing internet here. So Karen, you got hit by Because the first thing I did as an infant was crawl over to an electric socket, I put a knife in it and was like, woo! And because I was an infant, I was what is known as a floating ground, meaning I wasn't grounded. So I didn't get a real shock, I just kind of got the
And
tingle.
that's how you learned electricity.
Yeah, made
Because
me,
you started
yeah,
with one.
that started me off as an
Yeah.
electrician. Exactly.
That's how you became this.
And I had Mike Stoll Jr. I mean, I used to have what is a wiggy, this two little wires, and it had this little magnet, and if you completed the circuit and current went through it, it would like click and would tell you whether it was 110, 220, 440, 660. And my boss, Mike Stoll Jr., he used to lick his two fingers and put it across two wires. And so he wouldn't get, if he wasn't grounded, he wouldn't get the shock. The jolts would just go through his two little fingers. Now, don't do this at home, but
Don't do that at home. Don't do
because-
any of that.
because what he did, what ended his life was he was, I don't know, Grandpa was like in his, pushing 100, and Mike was 60 something, and I was probably 17 when this happened. And we were working in a factory building that was being turned into condos, and we were redoing this kitchen, and there was a junction box. And he took his two little fingers and he went like that, and it was 440, not 110, but 440, because it had been a factory building, and that current was still up there, and it was like a cartoon. He was blown across the room. And he didn't get electrocuted because the shock was just here, but because he was up on a ladder and he flew through the air and he hit the kitchen counter, he broke his knee, his hip, and his shoulder. And that was the end of it. About a year and a half he was dead because he couldn't move around. He became instantly old. And when you get past 55, you gotta be careful. Because you have, like my bro, he really screwed his knees riding motorcycles and doing all kinds of stuff like that. And, he barely could walk. Now me, after, I was like 17, 18 when this happened to my, one of my mentors, so I became very cautious and careful about safety around electricity. And that's why I never really hurt myself that way. And man, I was really blessed and lucky. This one time I was working on a job, I was in the union, Local 3, and we were in a kind of factory kind of thing, and we were rehabbing that. We were like on the 3rd or 4th floor, and each of these floors weren't your average 8 feet, they were like 20 foot high. So I was on a really tall ladder, and some stupid laborer came by with a big, plank, and didn't even see me, and turned around like this and hit the ladder, and I flew off the ladder, and all the windows had been taken out. And I threw right through, and I was up on the 3rd floor, 20 foot height, like 60, 70 feet up in the air, and I went right out the window, through the air, into the parking lot, and down on the parking lot were 2 dumpsters. And one was full of broken up cinder blocks, and the other was full of bags of fiberglass insulation. And I was blessed to land in the dumpster that had the bags of fiberglass insulation. I went boom, and went boom, and all the bags went through the air, and I didn't even have a scratch. But if I was 4 foot over, I would have landed first hitting the edge of the big metal dumpster and then crashing into the dumpster, a broken up cinder, and I would have been dead. And so to survive, there's a little bit of luck going on, but being safe, So man, after that, I was very careful of every ladder, who was around me. I would put things up so people couldn't walk into where I was walking, And that's how you survive. You take precautions. Now, you're not overly neurotic about it, but you just safety first. And that's for everything. All the stuff that we've talked about tonight, paranormal, blah, blah, blah. All of it, first and foremost, has to come from safety first. When I was in the Theosophical Society, and there, I had a mentor there, and she, how I got into the Theosophical Society
She was
was...
trying to reach out to some weird creatures that could be out in the woods.
No.
You think there's
there's some weird, like, highly attuned.
They're here in the room. We don't even have to go outside. They're right here.
Me?
Yes. Safety first.
I'm not
kids.
that highly attuned compared to the.
No. But
What if there's a weird creature out there? That's
you don't
like-
have. They're not even outside. They're right here, John, in this room.
Wait, so,
Yeah. So, safety first, kids. With any of the, when I was at universities, I used to always be the guy who would volunteer to run a student organization, right? And when these kids heard, hey man, he's an anthropologist, he's Wiccan, he's this, he's that. That was none of the above. I knew and experienced, I was a shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic, anthropologic alchemist. None of
There might be one.
what?
A weird creature, highly attuned.
I told you,
creature.
it's right here. You don't
Where,
have to go
downstairs?
No, right on this floor, right next to you, buddy.
Where? I don't see anything. Should we turn all the lights off?
No. It's not going. The only way this creature would appear to you is if you were to lie on the floor, sit in that chair, and breathe 20% more, and quiet your conscious mind, and see that creature in your imaginary mirror across your eyelids. And so here I'm kind of, I can go into state like that. I'm well practiced. All I have to do is focus that little squirrel in my head on breathing, and bingo, I'm there. I'm at my imaginary mirror. I'm in that white noise, white space, and I can see, right? So when I do this in front of my eyes, the light is in front of me, and my hand is making a shadow across my eyes, right? Across the optic nerve with my eyes closed. I see a shadow, I don't see my hand. But as I move my hand this way, on the edge of that shadow, I can see those creatures. And that's where you see paranormal things, on the edge. Everything is always on the edge. Haven't you been walking along and you, like when you saw Inga's ghost, or any of the stuff you've seen out in the woods, it's always been on the edge. You're walking along and then, oh, what's that? It's like you're surprised because
Oh yeah.
it breaks through.
That last video I did.
Right. It breaks through the suspension of disbelief, meaning our five senses are characterized.
But after it's been so long, I've waited my whole life for. Is there something, anything interesting aside from the boring,
Yes, it's all around us.
negative?
It's all around us. All the boring negative shit is the illusion. The other stuff is real. But because we have this five senses dynamic of disbelief, meaning like you said, oh, I can't say I see that because they say I'm crazy. That is the illusion of disbelief. When you can suspend your disbelief, that's when you can see anything. Everything that's roaming around. And you don't have to go out
Your
hunting.
disbelief, and you start believing in it,
Yeah.
and then it becomes real.
Yeah,
And you let those thoughts go, like
yeah.
this exists with all your might, and then it's like
Instead of
actually
going-
enables
instead
it from the parallel.
do is,
Because you don't want to think that something would be too scary and frightening. Like,
Did you ever
because
see-
when we reached out to
did you ever
ghosts
see the movie? Did you ever see the movie Men
and
in
all
Black?
those things, it seemed like they became real. Yeah, Men in Black.
And
yeah.
so there is Will Smith, and he's being inducted into the organization, and he's being tested. And all these military guys, the best of the best, right? And they go into the simulator where all these monsters pop out, right? And the military guys are shooting the monsters. And Will's just watching it, and this little girl comes up, and he blows her head off. And the chief guy
Why?
goes, I'll tell you why. So the chief guy goes, so, son, why did you kill little Susie there? And Will goes, well, this like gigantic
Hail Hitler.
no, this monster over here, I always thought he was a threat, but then I realized that he had a hanky in his hand and he was just blowing his nose. And then I saw this guy, and he was just looking for a ham sandwich. But when I saw little Susie, there's a 7-year-old, and she had all these books on dimensional physics. And what was a little girl like that doing with those books? She was the threat, and that's when you can suspend your disbelief. When you see the monster, and you go, well,
Yeah, motherfucker.
yeah, right.
No.
And there's a Greek.
And country voice for you. It looks like you like just came out of West Virginia or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. There are a lot of people I know in the mountains that look like monsters. But you know, the Greek. I always forget the guy's name, but he was the smartest man on the planet, and some Greek king said, you know, I need you and I need you, but I don't want you around. So he puts him on an island, right? And he puts him on an island, and the guy gets lonely, so he invents clones. He takes animals and he turns them into human beings. And the best creature he makes is this creature, his best friend, called
Because
Inky.
he's lonely?
Yeah, because he's lonely. He's on this island all by himself. So he takes, you know, a rabbit or a wolf, and he turns it into Enkidu, which is a conscious, you know, he talks to him, and the play goes on about what's human and what's not.
Oh, wait, is this the Iliad and the Odyssey?
No. I always forget the name of this guy. But then,
Enkidu.
right, Enkidu, and then Shakespeare wrote
But he
a play.
creates Enkidu?
Yeah, he creates
But
it.
Tom Hanks created that, he drew a face on a ball.
Yeah, well, that was different.
But
That,
why
Enkidu
would
actually-
somebody want to create something in a lab, and how could they be that
well,
scientifically
it's part of
accurate
it's
to
a
even do it?
story. Again, you're supposed to be able to suspend your disbelief.
But
What
do you
makes a
think they
movie?
created the stuff?
Yes,
Do you think they
yes,
maybe somehow
yes,
it exists?
yes. The
But
Nazis.
do you think there's a weird creature out there we can see
Yes,
with our own eyes?
yes, they're out there. You know,
Is it
Mothman,
around here somewhere?
Mothman, and that owl that's big. These are all creatures that are like that. They come from another dimension, and they've been created in other ways than we believe things are
Well,
created.
why have we never seen them?
Because of
Maybe
our,
I shouldn't reach out to them.
because
That's
our
scary.
dynamic of disbelief. You don't
But
see
you-
stuff that you can't
I don't
believe
want
in.
to start thinking all that stuff though again.
Okay, then don't.
It's scary.
Okay, then you're the guy who wanted to talk about this.
But to actually see it, not be like, terrified
You're
like
the
it's
one
right
who
around,
wanted to
like
see
it's right around the
to bring
corner,
the
but
ghosts
never
right
actually
in the
see-
room, and I'm
Oh.
telling you, they're right here. You just
Okay, I
have to,
guess you're right.
you just have to
It
suspend
takes
your
believing in it more than anything, and
Right.
then you start thinking it's a reality,
Right.
and then you start to kind of see.
and
sort
that's
of
why
thing.
in sacred
Sort of
law, nothing can hurt you unless you invite it in. Yeah, I've been in some pretty scary places, and I
Okay,
think,
so I've been doing pretty good without all
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly, because you haven't let it in. See? You know, when you start fooling around with it, like, I was at this college and these kids wanted to, you know, study magic. And like, you guys out there in YouTube land, a good deal of you folks who
What
contact
if it's
me,
good magic?
there is no such thing as good and bad magic. It's
Oh.
just it's like technology. Is
Oh,
that
you mean
is
once
that a
you-
good light
once you
bulb or
try
a
the
bad
good,
light
then
bulb?
it has to have the bad?
It's where you're coming from. I mean, if you want to use magic to be powerful and get over on people, well, that's not too good. If you want to use magic to heal and help folk, well, that's good. That's the bottom line. The magic, it's like a hammer. You know, if you build a house with a hammer, that's a good thing. Use the hammer to cave somebody's head in, not so good. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So you guys, you know, a lot of people, how can I be a shaman? You know, I want to learn about Irish magic, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line.
Is that what you had to do? Is
No,
that
I-
what you said when you were young?
No. What I did was
How did you become a shaman?
I am a shaman.
You are?
Yes, buddy. Yes.
Can you do some weird thing like
No.
conjure up a spirit?
No, you know, the shamanic thing I'm doing right now, John, is getting along
Sorry, I
with
mean,
you.
I don't mean to be.
Is getting along with you. That is a shamanic ceremony.
But
What
can-
we're doing on
Can
the
you capture
videos.
on video so I finally make like
$3 million and never have to work at some horrible thing that makes me want to die again?
There's always a cost, John.
What would the cost be
I
for
don't know.
capturing a real thing in a live video? It shows up and goes, hey, it's the ghost of the Civil War.
There's always a cost.
Flies through the river.
And that cost is what is known as the unexpected consequence.
Oh.
You want to wish for something, you
Like
read the book.
you can invite ghosts in,
Right.
but then you might have to see these weird things that are so terrifying. It makes it
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is not good, and then things get crazy and
Right.
sad and
Right.
horrible and stuff.
Right.
Maybe.
Yep. So there was a movie called The Forbidden Planet. And it was based on that Greek
Yeah.
tragedy and on Shakespeare's play, right? And the bottom line was the monster was manufactured by an advanced technology, just like this hill is an advanced technology. That cave is an advanced technology. Those rocks that are laid on top of each other above the cave are advanced technology. And what they do is they will manifest anything that you want. But you have to be very
Those
clear.
rocks?
Yeah, those rocks.
Oh, I never thought it was the rocks. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, those big rocks
Oh,
up
okay.
on the hill. They're the size of school
If
buses.
you believe in it, you can make the thing becomes
And
real.
you then use it as a piece of technology.
Okay, so can we use those rocks that are here, sort of on this property,
Yep.
to help all of us create something out in the
Yes.
out in the audience to help all of us
Yes.
realize all the things
Yes.
we want to achieve
Yes.
on Earth?
But if you can't even breathe 20% more than you normally do, screwing around with that is way more difficult and way more dangerous. And like I said,
Oh,
safety
dangerous.
first. Dangerous.
Oh, that's horrible.
Because of the unexpected consequence.
Like what?
Well,
Like when I tried to live to be 100, like when I tried to use this secret
Yes.
to live to be 155,
Yes.
and then later I got so motivated and energized I thought I'd live to be 1,000 years old.
Yes. Yes.
And I tried to put that thought forth like I could do anything, like get
Yep.
$1 billion, legalize marijuana, all this
Yep.
stuff. That,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
That was
I'm
back a
sure
long
you
time ago.
had a lot to do with lots of, but it was unexpected consequences. So things happen
yeah, when
What do
people
you-
dream huge
that you
like
weren't
that,
even,
they
you
don't,
weren't even thinking about what the outcome
it's so
was gonna
out
be.
there
Yes.
and random,
Yep,
and,
yep,
and
yep, yep, yep. And that's,
think some of it comes true and some of it doesn't, but it's like, oh man, I had to suffer sometimes.
and so that's
I had to
folks
really
out there
suffer
in
sometimes.
the YouTube audience, that's why I am just, these days, your simple Sensei Alba. What does the word sensei mean? Teacher, right?
But I'm okay. Look, I have my health.
Yeah, yeah.
We have my health.
Yep.
In 2011, I pushed legalization of marijuana everywhere, out in public, around police, around everyone out in like, just really trying to say stuff online about it. There's certain things that I reached for that actually became true that that can't even really
So
say
what,
because it may have hurt people.
okay, so you did that. Did you
Well,
notice?
I'll just tell the truth.
No, did you
I'll
notice?
tell the truth.
Notice
I
the
have a
unexpected-
video on YouTube in 2010. It didn't really hurt him that much. I have a video on YouTube that's private. That was back on MySpace when I started saying Nickelback is stupid. They're stupid. There's such a fake sellout, unoriginal sound. I made fun of Nickelback, like how stupid they were. And Brian Posen was on. Brian Posen was on my friends, and he started making fun of it on Comedy Central, and then all of a sudden everyone in the whole world started making fun of Nickelback about how unoriginal their sound was. They didn't sound
Now my
like
question
Nirvana
is,
and everything. And they
was
became
it
a pop-
your saying
but I
that,
stood up for them making a lot of money.
or were they
But I
just?
stood up for them making a lot of money, being successful, and later, I believed in them, and I thought that they're a good band, and they ended up being very successful. However, just thinking I could be the #1 person on earth, the coolest, richest person, whatever I thought I was going to achieve, that was my version of cool. I would just blabber about it on MySpace, where my parents couldn't see it, no one else could really see it, and I have a video still on YouTube. It's on private because I didn't want to hurt Nickelback's feelings, and I later stood up for their musical ability in public on Facebook and all sorts of stuff and said that they're good. But when you dream big and you try to do, like here and there, you'll do some big thing or whatever it is, like when you're feeling good and happy about yourself and you're just being yourself and it just comes true. But I don't hate Nickelback. I think Nickelback is talented. They're like really good musicians. Like, oddly enough, the Chad Kroeger is an amazing drummer. He can. I'm sorry, it's in my voice a bit. Chad Kroeger really is an amazing drummer. He can play Hot for Teacher on drums, like with the double bass and everything. He's actually really amazing at playing music and stuff. It might not be the coolest style ever, but like I respect them a lot for having made a living at music. They kept working at it, doing their live shows and everything, and finally it just came true for them.
Well, that's what it takes, hard work,
Yeah.
discipline, and belief.
Yeah, but back then I thought they were stupid or something because they weren't like Nirvana and Chris Cornell and all those like really original types of people. And I like made fun of them for not sounding like grunge or something, or ripping off grunge. But then, you know, I stood up for making a lot of money later on social media and being good musicians, and they seem to have done really well. Nickelback. Listen to my voice, how stupid it sounds. They seem to have. I'm sorry. But I do agree that they're, you know, okay. They just weren't my particular style back then. And then I had to become way more of a sellout than they probably ever were at one time. It was terrible. Like for my political beliefs, it was a nightmare.
There are people here making a comment that they're breathing the 20% and going into state and seeing the paranormal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Kathy Ashby.
Yeah, I still have a video up. It's from 2010, dissing Nickelback so much, and it's on YouTube, but it's on private. It's on private because they didn't want to hurt their feelings. So I think they are good musicians. And in any case, I stood up for them making more money and all that. So it's like I shouldn't have anything to hide anymore. But I thought I was the coolest thing in the world.
Well, on a certain level you are.
But it's, you know, that comes back to hit you hard, bite you, like to like hell, like a living nightmare of hell of fear
The unexpected
that's never been imagined.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
to terrify me after what I'd stood up for,
Yeah.
the liberal ideas, the huge liberal ideas I stood up for when I was younger.
Yeah, the unexpected consequence.
And then now I'm back to normal again. I'm not like really right wing or not really left wing.
You're
I
just
hope
you.
I'm not really left wing.
You are the good John.
I'd like to be really left wing, but it just doesn't work in practice as much.
Oh, left, right wing are two wings of the same corporate bird. What you need to be, John, is John Birmingham, period.
Yeah. If I can even see, I was afraid to even make a video tonight.
Yeah, but we're having
Or
a good
ever
time.
again.
Well,
Like
we're having
with
a good
John,
time.
with my name John Birmingham, I thought I'd have to put makeup on and come up with a new look and come up with a whole new YouTube channel that nobody in my friends or family knew who it was.
And that's still a good idea, but this has been a good YouTube. We're getting a lot of conversations and, you know, a lot of people are gonna watch this one.
Cool. They're watching it now. Yeah, like, well, 15 people are watching it now. Sounds so cheesy
Yeah,
when
but your comments are what's
when I hear my own
interesting.
voice, it sounds like a bucket's gonna hit my head like Brandon D. Camillo and
Well, here's a recurring queen. I was a volunteer for a remote viewing experiment, and I actually came through the other person. I scared the two guys.
Somebody could scare us.
Mm-hmm.
I could be scared by somebody else. There was a time when I thought I couldn't be scared by anyone else on earth that I knew of. I thought it was so cool. And then recently, I stayed at a rich guy's house
Jane
who
Murphy,
terrified me.
two close parts
I stayed-
attacked me in my bedroom the other night.
I stayed at a famous guy's house in LA. And I'm not supposed to say because I don't want anyone to know. He was a big famous guy. He is. And I stayed at his house. And I guess it's okay as long as I don't tell who it was. But he had an Airbnb, just one studio apartment in his house. And he had like a big mansion, cool place, kind of like, it was like, not in the Hollywood Hills, it was, I can't say what neighborhood it was in, but it was in the hills of Los Angeles. And he just had an Airbnb, it was like $77 a night, it was pretty cheap. And it was the coolest looking place, it showed the outside of it, and I was like, that's a mansion looking, I don't want to say when, but 20s or, it was a long time ago when it was built. And it was cool looking, so I thought I'll just stay there. And I got an Airbnb, and then I could hear him stomping around above my head eventually. It was nice at first and everything, but then I got terrified of him, thinking I saw myself in him, that he could become some evil, horrible person that just wanted to look like perfect, like have his face keep looking young, and it just frightened me. It just frightened me that I saw myself in him, and I was afraid he was going to come in there in the middle of the night. He was so, and because it was like too much me living in a little studio place in his big house. It was too much to have me in his house. And I had to get on a plane flight and leave there in the middle of the night. I didn't know what he was going to do, because the first night or two there, I called Airbnb and it was a big like legal fight against him almost to stay there or not. But then we made friends and everything was okay, and I didn't want to be involved in all that stuff. And it was like terrifying that I could have become one of those guys that like was lifting weights all the time, trying to look perfect and younger, and like be like a horrible, horrific, evil person towards other people in my thoughts, just to prove like you're not going to make me look older and stuff. And like I didn't want to become like that, and I saw him being even worse than I had ever seen myself, from what I could hear of him saying above me. If, you know, I'm not sure if I could hear his voice as much, but I don't want to say if he did or not. And the fact is that it just kind of terrified me that I saw myself in him, but he seemed one step a little more able to go to more evil or mean boundary crossing levels, like to hurt others a little bit more than I was willing to, and it made me feel bad. But he was still a nice person. He was still a nice seeming person. He texted me a lot on the Airbnb stuff and everything. I got along with him, and I told him I was moving there to be famous, LOL. And he seemed like an okay enough person. I think even if I did end up being like him, like a big famous guy that went to LA and got like a little more famous, you know, like 10 times what I am now or whatever, with the movies and how much money I've ever had, or 30 times or whatever he was when money turns more than me, or what, it wouldn't have even been that bad. It wouldn't have even been that bad, because I'm still a good enough person that he seemed a nice enough person, but still it terrified me how mean he could seem when I heard him stomping above me, but I don't know for sure if he was doing it or not, so I don't want to say if he was definitely doing anything wrong or not, but I got on a plane and flew out of there that night. I got a plane flight leaving as fast as I could and just left. I was not going to stay in there. I had a feeling it was going to turn into an all-night thing, but I was afraid he was going to storm into my room and like terrify me or scare him or have a skirmish, or I just started getting worried and I left. It was strange. It was, and I couldn't, it was like a lot of time I was just sitting there being so quiet, like hardly eating any food. I felt like I felt like he could almost hear me or something. But because I could hear him and the windows were all open, it's like I had to keep the windows open because he didn't have air conditioning in the downstairs. And then I complained about it and they said he got an air conditioner and who knows. But I don't want to say he's bad or good because like he was kind of nice like me, but it just terrified me that I saw someone who could be even more mean.
Yeah, but John.
But I'm not even that mean, but it was like I thought I could defeat any enemy or something.
The bottom line
I
about
thought in my mind. And then to see somebody that was like me, that was almost just like me, except they were willing to go to more horrible negative things, that's what frightened me.
so that's what you saw.
And there are people out there that could probably do, that they're not as morally correct as you.
Look
You know,
at Harvey
whether or not you
Weinberg.
could fight them or not.
Look at Harvey
legally.
Weinberg, raping all those women.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why they call
yeah, that's
in
awful.
In Hollywood, that's what is all about the entertainment business. Meaning people can justify anything through the concept of business. Oh, it's just business. We killed that guy. Oh, it's just business. So it's not personal. It's just business.
But any business is like that. I don't believe it's just the entertainment industry. From what I've seen, it's in the other industries too.
Well, it depends. And it depends on the individual. When I had my electric business, when I had my art business,
But
when I had all my
Disney-
different
oh, man.
businesses, I never was that way because there was a line. Meaning, so I never made zillions of dollars. I made a nice living. That's all that was needed. But to go any more than a nice living, I would have to be doggy dog, and I didn't want to do that, so I didn't.
You have to be mean to people?
Yeah, and I didn't want to do that, so I didn't.
And you were very conscious and aware of it.
Right,
That
right.
that's what it would take.
Yeah, and so I didn't.
And it didn't make you feel happy being that type of job. It's always
No.
quote unquote working, but not really just working, but hurting others.
Right, and I saw other business people do that. And my mentors, Mike Stoll Jr. and Sr., Grandpa Stoll, these men were men of great honor and morality. And they, who's a person like that? The guy who's doing the bulldozing of this road.
Is?
Yeah, because,
Yeah.
I mean, he said, oh, it's $100 an hour. And he said, well, I'll pay you this.
I was not feeling that great. I had been like eating more food, not very confident, hadn't taken a shower that day.
Right.
And he just showed up.
Right.
And instead of being a jerk to me, which some people could have, just
Right.
showed up on property, I would
Right.
have felt awkward. He was like nice about it.
Nice.
He just always treated me.
And he came up here and did the job and is charging a few $100 instead of thousands of dollars, right? And so that's, and that's how I did it. I mean, I knew what I wanted to make for something, and that's all I did, and I never got over on people. And there only have been a few times that I didn't even get over on them. I let other people's, what's the right word? What is it? When you want something, avarice, greed. A number of times people wanted to buy something from me and they were really greedy about it, right?
Yeah.
And instead of me saying, oh, that'll be $1 zillion, I would say, what do you want to pay? And they would offer me a lot more than what I paid for it. And because they were so greedy.
What if you had done that consistently? That's kind of how those people keep
Right,
alive.
and they ease themselves, but
But that's not a bad trait to
No,
have. Sometimes it's just like people have to survive, and
Right,
that's how they learn,
right.
that's how they get good at keeping money.
right, Exactly.
it's not necessarily bad.
Right.
For some people, it's actually good for them.
Right, right. And so that instance, and a number of people that I've told that story to, they go, well, you cheated them. I said, no, I didn't. I asked the guy what he wanted to pay. He told me. I didn't say, oh, by the way, that's like 100th, I paid 100th less than what you're offering me. No, he was greedy. He thought he was getting over on me. And when I said, so what do you want to pay? And he offered. I said, fine, good, let's go do it. And
That's like something you have to do is like learn how to keep that money.
right.
But even the people that have like millions, like low millions or millions, or like they're not that mean, but like they can be pushy about that stuff.
Well, the other side of the coin is I was always very specific. And, once I started a business and really got serious about having a business, I wrote everything down. It was always in the contract. Everyone agreed that's the way it was. So I didn't have to get upset or mean or ornery or any of those things, because we wrote it down. We agreed, right? And again, that goes back to that thing I was talking about earlier about safety.
I was
first.
good at working at movie stuff
Mhm.
when I was younger
Right.
in LA. Like when I could work on movie sets and do like more work, longer hours.
Well, when
And
you're
I was
young, you
okay
can do
with that,
that.
and I could get paid for some of those movie sets.
Yeah.
And I could even make the whole movies and everything, do all that work to make the whole movies. But like now it's like,
Well, you
I
did
don't know
it.
what,
You
I don't
did
know
it,
what
done
I can,
it, and
I don't know what I'm gonna do to make money now.
you'll figure it out. If you
I have some ideas, but
if you don't let your anxiety get the better part of you, you'll be fine.
would you just go around people and work
Or
instead of at home?
yes. No anxiety about, oh, how am I gonna pay my bills, that kind of thing.
But there's some ideas I have about doing things from home.
Well, they're good, then do them.
Are you tired of sitting there milling out?
I gotta walk, I gotta stretch my legs.
Oh.
I start to rust if I sit down.
Oh, but for you it's late at night.
Yeah, it is, I usually am way already in bed. Way asleep. But,
No, I'm gonna.
chatting up, let's say goodnight. Chatting audience, thanks for showing up. This was a great chat. We'll do it some more. And remember, go to my channel, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Contact me at my Gmail, thedudeawake42@gmail. Okay? And we can talk more discreet, more thoroughly, or any of these subjects that we've discussed. And you've had some great chats here and put forth some interesting insights and questions and statements on your own experiences. I'd love to hear from all of you at my thedudeawake42@gmail. So, say goodnight, John.
Yeah, bye everybody.
Thanks again.
That was a long video.
Yeah, how long was that?
Wow. You're welcome, Kathy Ashby. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn the thing off. What's table flipping? What table tipping? I don't know what that is.
You're moving the camera
Rad.
around so it looks like the table is
Oh,
bouncing around.
okay. Okay, bye. I'm gonna.
Bye.
Bye.